shall I welcome in?
Yes.
Wow, that was quick. I'd like to at least offer you the opportunity to do a bit of the spade work, but nope. Right.
Hi everyone and welcome to Loitering.
Very good.
In like Flynn.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, I'm pretty sure that was too soon and so is unusable.
No,
But I have the moral high ground now.
no, you've literally done it. You've done the intro. If you'd said that we are the Geek Show's dedicated arts, books and culture podcast, it would have been the whole thing. But as it is, it's down to me to say that I'm Graham and I've been joined by Rob.
Hello.
Sarah.
Hello.
And Andrew.
Hello.
You're right to sound pleased with yourself.
I am, because I am vaguely aware of one of the segments happening today.
Yes.
Oh. I've been keeping myself completely in the dark, so...
That's not, for the show. You've just been locked in a cellar for a couple of weeks.
We don't have a cellar.
Wow, that's even worse.
Hang on. This is not my house.
This is not my beautiful wife.
How did I get here?
I'd never really thought of that song as being the intro to a kidnap scenario, but it definitely works that way.
It definitely does. You could so use that and transplant it as a total.
Yeah.
As we just did.
I mean, it's basically like the opening 10 minutes of Old Boy, isn't it?
Actually, yes. It is. Oh, now I want the Talking Heads song for Where He Eats the Live Octopus.
I want the Talking Head song over the corridor fight.
Oh, wow, yeah. No, that's... isn't that Psycho Killer?
Yes.
I'm just actually going over the corridor fight with Psycho Killer and playing in my head, and it actually fits.
Or Born Under Punches.
Born Under Punches. But I think Psycho Killer works with, the hammer hits. With the
Yes.
fa-fa-fa-fa-fa-fa-fa-fa.
Listeners, if you haven't seen Old Boy, you probably should. It's been out for ages and it's really good. So that's unintentional poem aside. What's everyone been reading?
My trash binge continues. I'm ashamed to say.
Yeah.
I've just finished reading... I hesitate to even call it a book, although it is.
Right.
I hesitate to call it a story, although it is. I hesitate. I'm not sure why I started reading this. I think
Is it a menu?
I think it was. I think I was challenging myself to try and find something that was more bizarre than that one I read about the Black Technology Internet Cafe in a fantasy world, and then I found one that's called 3,650 Days Survival Diary in Another World.
So that's 10 years.
Yes, which my first thought was exactly that, Sarah. Why didn't you just say 10 years in another world?
But if it's another world, it might not have that cycle like we do on Earth.
They didn't even bother explaining that, right? It was just one of the many, many things that they didn't bother explaining.
Hey, do you know who would explain the entire day-night cycle of their fantasy world if they wrote a book like that? J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
'Cause I did it, guys. I said I was going to do it, and I did it.
Did you finish it?
Did I finish it? Oh, no. No, I did not finish the Silmarillion, Rob. I got about 50 pages in, up to the point where it's like, right, this is chapter 1.
Right, see, all I can say, Andrew, is welcome to the club. Welcome to the people who attempted to read the Silmarillion and really just got bored of it club.
I mean, look, Jur of the planet Omicron Persei 8 Tolkien is a beloved and well-remembered figure in the fantasy community for good reason. He invented the genre. He took just a bunch of unrelated European folklore and hammered it into a living, breathing fantasy world that has provided the inspiration for literally decades and decades of books and TV shows and films.
See, you called him Jur, and in my head now, I've got two cavemen, one who looks a bit like Gur Martin, one who looks a bit like Jur Tolkien, and they're just going, Jur.
Yes. But anyway, the thing about Jur Tolkien is the man is not good at telling stories.
No, he is not. Why do people say that the Lord of the Rings is this? It's supposed to be this thing where, this pinnacle of writing, and I'm like, it's so boring. And
can I just give the Silmarillion to Peter Jackson so that he can make a tolerable version of it?
No, don't, because we saw what he did with The Hobbit. You're talking about a year's worth of movies.
Actually, at this point, I'm pretty sure if I did, Peter Jackson would take the Silmarillion, stick it in my mouth, and then just strike it with the kind of flat of his hand.
You would he would definitely book stomp you.
Yeah, no, God, the Silmarillion is sure a book in which there's 10 pages of just people's names, and then a single paragraph of, and then there was Melkor, the Lord of Evil. He attacked with an army from beyond reality.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll get back to that later, maybe. So there's these trees, right? And they're shiny. Let's talk about that for another 2 pages or so.
See, this is the thing. I think somewhere between the Silmarillion and what I read, there's an actual story that explains things.
Andrew makes it sound delightfully like a sort of boring fantasy version of the Copacabana shot from Goodfellas. I just want to hear that passage read by Ray Liotta going, and there was Jimmy 2 times. We called him that because he said everything 2 times, and there's an end.
Do you know what the Silmarillion is, basically? It's the Burke's Peerage of fantasy. That's all it is. That's literally what it is. It's Burke's Peerage of fantasy.
Joe Pesci, who in the tongue of elves is known as the Wet Bandit.
I'm not saying that I've been incredibly bored during lockdown, but I recently galloped through an 850-page book in just over a week.
Jeez Louise, and it was?
And it was They All Love Jack, Busting the Ripper by Bruce Robinson. I think the only contribution to Jack the Ripper literature written by the creator of Withnail and I.
Why is this not a film?
I sort of get where you're coming from, but when you look at it, you do think, where would you start adapting this thing? I mean, it is enormous, it is full of tangents. It begins with a lengthy description of the Opium Wars, which, as we all know, were blisteringly relevant to the Ripper killings.
Yeah, but we're talking about the guy behind Withnail and I. I'm sure he could manage it.
Yes. I think he could. It is written in an incredibly Robinsonian style, by which I mean sweary, angry, and drunk.
Yep.
And it is full of really amazing facts about the Jack the Ripper murders that I did not know. Like, for example, at the height of the Ripper killings, in the basement of New Scotland Yard, which was apparently being built at the time, they found severed limbs from 2 different women and just thought, better not investigate that one, it might make us look bad.
Wow!
And that's not on the list of any canonical Ripper victims at all, because it is just impossible to explain it without going absolutely conspiracy barmy and saying they were deliberately covering things up, because they were.
They never cover anything up. You know this, Graham. They're always above board and honest and completely transparent.
It is quite fascinating, as Robinson argues, that so many people who research the Ripper killings take the police records as inviolate gospel, considering the Victorian police did quite badly at the thing they were meant to be doing with Jack the Ripper, namely catching him.
Oh, good. No, I'm thinking of a very specific Mitchell and Webb sketch of the identity killer.
Yes.
What one?
It's a serial killer. It's a serial
Yes.
killer whose only calling card is that he leaves his personal details, passport photo, and a letter with his address at the scene of every crime.
It's superb.
Well, I've been reading, I'm still reading it. I've finished reading The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which is very good.
Good.
I'd give it 4 stars out of 5.
Solid.
And it's obviously a classical book, and it is quite verbose and quite religious and quite feminist, so forward-thinking as well. And I'm now reading 2 things. Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. Which is so funny and great. It's really clever. It's about a woman called Eleanor Oliphant who works as an administrator and has a few issues and is very intellectual, very clever. And she's not entirely sure why she's misunderstood by the majority of people. And she's trying to sort of figure out things and interact with humans and just get through the week. And it's a really fascinating read. And we've just started reading See Her Safe at Home by Stephen Benatar, no relation, I think. And that is about a lady who inherits a big house owned by her aunt. And I think she has sort of a descent into madness, apparently, but we haven't reached that plummet yet.
Interesting. Also, I would absolutely listen to a podcast which was just Sarah pronouncing the word lady over and over again.
Lady. So yes, that's what we're reading currently, so that's all good.
Super. Shall we talk about penguins?
Always a good time to talk about penguins.
There's always room for that.
It's very true. A particular place where there is definitely room for penguins.
Okay. I just want to point out, though, after the story about penguins, you have to tell a dad joke.
I mean, I wasn't planning one,
It's
it's
obligatory. Every penguin has a dad joke.
Okay.
You'll have to forgive him. He's high on sugar.
The biscuit. Yes, I've just belatedly got it as well. I was quite thrown because normally you don't have to tell me to tell a bad joke. It just happens naturally.
Not a bad joke, a dad joke.
Well, yes, 6 and 2 3s, isn't it? So yes,
penguins.
Have you just cumberbatched?
I've just cumberbatched all over this podcast.
I think it's pronounced cumberbort.
No, it's Emerson Cumberbund.
So, I mean, we're entertained enough just talking about penguins, but wait until you hear what the penguins have been doing. They've took a trip to the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art in Kansas City.
Hashtag lockdown.
Yeah. The owners of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art thought, while we're in lockdown and all of these paintings are going unseen and unvisited, why not get a bunch of penguins from the zoo to look at them?
Mm-hmm.
So they phoned the Kansas City Zoo, and several penguins from the zoo's menagerie were shown around by the museum's director. Now, I've been looking forward to saying this all week, but I'm still not quite sure how I'll pull it off. Julian Zugazagotita.
Ooh, what?
It's funny, because you never thought you'd think about this as a personality type, but he absolutely sounds like the kind of guy who would show penguins around an art museum.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like a delightful children's book character.
Yes.
What was his name again?
Julian Zugazagotita.
Sorry, 3 times fast? It is one of those names, isn't it?
It really is. So, I know what you're thinking, what your next question's going to be. What type of painting?
What type of penguin? Oh, okay.
I don't know what type of penguin, actually.
But that is the important question. Who cares about the
Yeah.
paintings? We just
Does
want
it
to know
say?
the type of penguin.
Humboldt penguins. 3 Humboldt penguins they were.
Oh, the humble. Oh, the little titty ones.
It's hard to be Humboldt. But yeah, obviously the next question would be, what type of paintings did they like?
I mean, actually, my next question was going to be, are you sure it's not 2 Humboldt penguins and 1 tiny thief in a tuxedo?
We're back to Joe Pesci again, aren't we? Yeah, Julian Zugazagotita initially thought that the penguins would go for Monet's water lilies, because, penguins, they like water.
Nice and chilled, nice and relaxed.
Yeah, but I don't think they get water lilies in Antarctica.
No. As it turns out, they skipped pretty much straight through the Impressionist section, but they absolutely love Caravaggio.
Oh my God, Graham, I was literally going to jokingly say, and did they go straight to the Caravaggio? And they did! They did!
Is it his mastery of light?
Julian Zugazagotita, I've practiced this and I'm going to keep going at it.
It trips off the tongue so easily now.
See, the way you're saying it now, it's starting to get a bit of a rhythm. It sounds a bit like that zig-a-zig R that they do in the Spice Girls.
Yeah, he said he thought the penguins might be reassured by the sight of humans, thinking it might remind them of being in the zoo. But I've got to say, if these penguins cannot tell the difference between the average family who comes to see them in the zoo and Judith beheading Holofernes...
Listen, sometimes it's a hot day. Things can get a bit tense. Lots of screaming.
Yeah, so this is the side thing we've learned, isn't it? That if you want to put a penguin absolutely at its ease, just strip all your clothes off and do loads of dramatically lit contortions. That sounds to me like it has the making of a really great children's book. And we've got a bit of children's book news as well. The British Library has sent out an appeal based on a story that we actually did last year. Do you remember when the Bronte sisters' tiny books were rediscovered?
Yes.
They made tiny little children's books during their infancy on the back of sugar wrappers.
Yeah.
And now the British Library is calling for modern-day children to make their own versions of these smaller than palm-sized books, 57mm high and 47mm wide, which they describe rather macabrely, I think, as around the same length as a mouse's tail.
Is that a unit of measurement now? Along with the fridge?
Yes.
Yeah,
Football pitches, car parks... An area the size of Belgium.
Wales. Oh,
Wales,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, it is quite worrying, isn't it, that you just happen to have the length of a mouse's tail to hand in your mind.
Yeah, let me just sort of whip out my collection of severed mice tails. And they've already got some celebrity participants. Axel Scheffler, the creator of the Gruffalo, and Jacqueline Wilson, creator of Tracy Beaker, have turned in their miniature books. So that's quite nice, but the world of children's books is big and full of competition, right?
Oh, no, I was just about to say, this is a nice, lovely, cute story. What have you done, Graham? What have you found?
See, there's another news story which I think could knock the small children's books off the top of the tree. James Patterson, the Factory, formerly known as a writer, has decided to take his own stab at the children's book market.
He's stabbing children? That's not great.
Not right, but in character. He's got a new collaborator based on the pop cultural phenomenon that every 2020s kid is absolutely obsessed with, Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah, totally still a thing.
The band
With the
from
kids.
mostly the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The band who were around about 20 to 30 years before most kids were born and also suck.
The band whose lead singer now looks like my Auntie Brenda.
Did your Auntie Brenda have terrible white person cornrows? Or is she just going bald and it's hard
Just a
to tell?
perm. Yeah, just a perm.
Patterson describes himself as a long-time fan of Guns N' Roses because
Yeah,
honestly,
right.
what other type is there? And he's making a book based on Sweet Child of Mine, which he says will, and this is an honest-to-God quote, follow a child's wondrous discovery that music is everywhere around us, from the gentle wind blowing through the bluest skies to the fearful crash of the thunder and the rain. This is exactly what I think of when I listen to Guns N' Roses.
Well, it is November Rain, isn't it?
Yes.
Essentially. He's listened to one song is what we're telling him now.
They must. I love the idea of James Patterson listening to one Guns N' Roses song and thinking they must be an entirely rain-themed band, right? That must be their thing.
So many weather tracks.
Is he mixing them up with the Jazz Fusion Act Weather Report?
Maybe. Take me down to the Paradise City.
Where the temperature is fair to moderate and air
And the
humidity.
clouds are. Yeah.
And of course, there were the classic, welcome to the jungle. We'll be expecting temperatures of a high humidity today, so make sure you bring your waterproofs.
Of course, if you wanted this to be a real tribute to Guns N' Roses, you would announce this and then not publish it for 17 years. It's Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy, the new muse of terrible stadium metal.
It's coming out soon, Graham.
Not deterred by the plagues of Egypt that we've had this year.
It's fine. It is going to come out sometime next year, and with it be the harbinger of the final apocalypse, ending all of our cursed existences before any of us can watch a single minute.
Hey, that's a pretty good transition, actually, because we've got a piece of film news from the time of coronavirus.
Oh?
We don't normally do film news because most film news is honestly kind of boring. We stopped doing it on Cinema Eclectica because when we sort of started off Cinema Eclectica, it was around the time that the Star Wars new films were getting underway. And so every week's film news, so-and-so just Instagrammed a photo of C-3PO's kneecap, and I just could not care less every. But sometimes film news comes up trumps. This is the saga of Woody Allen's A Rainy Day in New York, the film with the Woody Allenest title ever. It was going to be produced, as have many of Allen's recent films, by Amazon Studios, until they suddenly read some newspapers from 1992 and thought, oh, this guy's probably a nonce, isn't he? So they dropped it. There was a $68 million lawsuit, which is coincidentally the combined gross of the last 68 Woody Allen films. His output from, I think, 2014 to the present day there. And Allen got the rights back. And now, sing hallelujah, it has been released in territories like Russia and South Korea, which still have cinemas open. And it has become, for probably the first time in Allen's career, number one at the global box office due to lack of competition.
Yes, that is technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. What if that's my thing for this episode, is just constant Futurama quotes?
Yes. There were worse things to contribute.
I know, I frequently do.
So this is bonkers. It stars Timothy Chalamet, who has since disowned the film, probably because his character in it is called Gatsby Wells.
That's
That's not a good name.
fully aware of all the context surrounding this. That might be the worst thing Woody Allen's ever done.
Really? The worst thing Woody Allen's ever done?
Don't challenge us, Rob. You know we're right.
Okay.
But yeah, this $330,000 gross in South Korea could be the beginning for a whole new career for the Woodsman.
That was an awful joke, Graham. That was an awful movie-related joke.
I didn't think of that. I've genuinely heard him called the Woodsman before by people who have presumably not remembered, as I just have, that is also the title of a movie where Kevin Bacon plays a paedophile.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, wasn't thinking.
Anyway, best of luck to Woody Allen, by which I mean I can't wait for him to try and put another film out at some point when there's literally anything else to go see and to or crash and burn horrendously.
Yes. Yeah, number one at the global box office. I think he could very easily go up against Tenet this July.
Oh, please do, Woody. Please do.
In further awful people news, Michael Gove.
Oh, is this just the Battle of the Chinless Wonders you got going on here, Graham?
I mean, say what you want about Woody Allen, but he does have an absolutely bitchin' ragtime jazz collection, whereas Michael Gove is a big fan of Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer, and other chap hop acts.
I like Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer, but I didn't think I would ever share anything in common with Govey.
I thought that was going to be, I like Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer, but not anymore.
And I like the idea of chap hop.
So,
quite innovative, but I've only ever seen one proponent of it. So.
Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer?
It's exactly what you think it is, to be fair.
So, is this like Professor Elemental, then?
It's like a sort of steampunkier version of Nerdcore, isn't it?
Yeah, Professor Elemental stuff, yeah.
Hip hop with a ukulele and a chap saying all the lyrics terribly posh accent.
Yeah, I remember we interviewed Professor Elemental a long time ago. I think it was when we were still on radio. That was a bizarre realization that there was this particular branch of hip hop that we didn't know existed. Mercifully, we didn't know it existed.
No, I've not heard of Professor Elemental. The chances are I might enjoy his stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, he is basically exactly the things you have just described.
Yeah, and I think that the reason why, when you were talking about the Gentleman Rhymer, it was ringing a bell, and I was thinking, hang on, I think he's the one who had a bit of a feud with Professor Elemental as to who was actually the first gentleman rapper, rhymer, whatever you want to call it.
Oh no, a steampunk beef.
No, steampunk beef just sounds tasty.
It does actually, doesn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I guess you'd probably have to,
going on.
Delivered
to kind of, pick the cogs out of the beef first.
Yeah.
No, because you could have cog-shaped buttered potatoes, couldn't you?
How have you not opened up your own theme restaurant? But Gove, yes, you're right. We should probably put a news story somewhere in here.
Damn it.
This agonised me because we did that whole thing, didn't we, about public figures in lockdown revealing themselves to have embarrassing bookshelves.
Mm.
And then, literally like a day or two after we did that, Michael Gove's wife, Sarah Vine, whose job seems to be like being one step away from throwing herself into an erupting volcano as a willing sacrifice to Boris Johnson, tweeted a photo of her husband's bookshelf, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Does it maybe have one or two bad time racist books on it?
It certainly does, including by your actual David Irving.
That's not too good, Michael Gove.
Bit of a bad look, I'd say.
Yeah.
Has he got teaspoons of the Third Reich?
Oh man, if I ever get invited to be on lockdown era television, I'm definitely putting that behind me.
Excellent. We will have to like separately, individually compile a really nice lockdown bookshelf and just tweet photos of it or put it on Instagram.
That is a very good idea, yes.
That's a great idea, yes.
It would be challenging indeed to put together a worse bookshelf than Michael Gove, whose shelves include a book by Hwaliam Fay called Why We Fight, Manifesto of the European Resistance. Yeah, it's got a picture of an eagle on the front, so it's
flip it up.
Boy, that sounds like exactly what it is.
No. Tor.
Several books from a publishing house that also handle the works of American neo-Nazi leader Richard Spencer, The Bell Curve by Charles Murray, and to be fair, several books by people he's worked alongside at the Times and the Spectator, which are not really any less racist.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pretty incredible. Obviously, with Gove being both a conservative and an ex-hack, loads of blue ticks with small bells in place of their brain have gone on Twitter to say, well, I read lots of books that I disagree with, kind of missing the point that if Gove disagrees with a lot of his bookshelf, nothing much Marx or Bakunin there. It seems to be like mostly racist stuff. And also, I don't believe that Gove doesn't believe this for 1 second is the other big problem you've got here. But yes, friend of Viktor Orban has an extremely Viktor Orban-y bookshelf. Also, every single person who defended Michael Gove was in on that thing in December last year when they said that Jeremy Corbyn's fondness for A Christmas Carol was proof of anti-Semitism, which I just want to get on record. We need to remember that was a thing that actually happened, and British journalists saying as though it was not inherently ridiculous on the face of it. Apparently having David Irving on your bookshelf means you're a great friend of the Jews, but as soon as you have a single DVD of the Muppet Christmas Carol, that's it, you're Hitler.
Oh, but hang on. The Muppet Christmas Carol, Mickey's Christmas Carol, every version of the Christmas Carol. My God, Jim Carrey is a monster.
Well, yes, but not because of this.
Yeah.
We have a bit more Tory news because I know that always goes down well. We've covered on this show recently a few stories about authors like Dean Koontz and Stephen King who had released books about deadly global pandemics and are now finding a new audience because, you know, imagine me gesturing around at everything as I say that. And now they are joined by another titan of popular fiction, Boris's father, Stanley Johnson.
What's he done?
He has reissued a novel called The Marburg Virus that he published in 1982 under the title The Virus, just shaving it down, I guess, making it more efficient. Its central character is the American president leading the fight against a global pandemic, so pretty much fantasy. And it's being republished by a company called Eyewear Press, who have a fascinating bio in the new Private Eye. There's a quote from Private Eye. And how will Johnson Sr. fit in with the ethos of the Black Spring / Eyewear stable run by the excitable poet Todd Swift? Judging by Swift's mission statement on the publisher's website, which includes, we understand that the shock of the news, such as with Dadaism, can challenge societal values, and we will seek to balance the ideas of Judith Butler with those of Claire Fox. It sounds like a match made in heaven. Indeed, let us go from those lofty dreams of a Dadaist come Marxist come spiked online imbecile collaboration, and here's Stanley Johnson's thoughts on the virus.
Wow.
Will the fight against COVID-19 be as successful as my fictional hero was in fighting the Marburg virus? Thinking back to my own book and its eventual happy ending. Jesus, spoilers, Stanley! I can't help feeling that governments around the world, our own included, need to be ruthlessly focused on the search for an antidote or vaccine.
See, I'm hesitant to take
Wow.
any advice.
He's done his homework, hasn't he?
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's like he almost knows it's some kind of a medical condition and what that might require.
yeah, but like I said, I'm hesitant to take any advice from anyone who reckons someone is going to be successful at politics because he has marvellous hair.
Stanley Johnson was going around just before lockdown talking about how he was going to be drinking in pubs and no one could stop him. And I think that was probably...
Graham, only drinking in pubs if he has to.
If I'm forced at gunpoint.
Then giving Boris a call going, Boris, where do we put the shotgun?
Well, Weatherspoons would still be open, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
Anyway, that seemed like a more dignified career than writing this rubbish.
Wow. Everyone's I've noticed that a lot of these virus novels have started crawling out of the woodwork and they're all as bad as each other.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because we've got reality to measure it against, that when it's fantasy, you can imagine a global outbreak of a deadly virus being a bit like 28 Days Later, but in reality, it's standing outside Asda for about half an hour?
Yeah, see, this is the big problem with a pandemic like we've got right now, right? If it was something like an Ebola pandemic and you had like armed soldiers in the streets herding people into buildings, making sure they stayed there, right? That would be something, and then if I then went back and played a Resident Evil game or watched 28 Days Later, I might genuinely have concerns. But right now, no, nothing.
Nah.
It's weird how they always go to the ultimate worst case scenario if they're coming up with fiction in this regard, but life experiences tells us the exact opposite. It tells us it doesn't go into the unremitting boredom of the situation.
That's what I mean. I cannot sit down and play a game like Resident Evil where it's the T virus is turning people into zombies. They're going to eat your flesh. Oh, no. Then remember, I stood for half an hour in a queue outside Tesco's.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I feel like an exciting virus thriller novel in which the main character just decides, you know what, I will just have another little walk around the house this afternoon. maybe isn't that exciting?
World War Z, that would have been so very, very different.
I'll have a look at pictures of some pubs online.
Also, every virus novel has a sinister mastermind who plots to benefit from the social chaos imposed by the virus, but I don't think anyone yet has had that beneficiary be Woody Allen.
Well, this is true. I mean, in terms of the real world, one could suggest that the beneficiary is Donald Trump, but then you use the word mastermind, and really you can't use that with him.
It's going to stick in the throat.
Like bleach. Yes. In terms of other fantasists, as listeners will know, I have a great soft spot for stories about fantasists and plagiarists and the like. And there's a doozy here. Stéphane Bourgoin, a French true crime author whose books, mostly about serial killers, have sold millions of copies in his native country, claims that he became interested in the subject when his wife was murdered. He says that he's interviewed more than 70 killers. He's travelled to the FBI's base in Quantico, Virginia, and that when his wife's killer was found, the killer turned out to be a serial killer who confessed to a dozen more murders. Have a little guess how much of that story is true.
Is none of it?
It is none of it, yes.
Because it's basically the plot of Mindhunter.
He is Terry Mindhunter. In fairness, he's took it on the chin. In an interview with Le Parisien, he describes himself as a mythomaniac, says, I completely admit my faults. I am ashamed to have lied. I am profoundly and sincerely sorry. But I think that, sometimes when you read a story and there's just one bit that doesn't quite fit, amongst all of this true crime expertise, among the FBI training, among the meetings with Charles Manson, among the wife murdered by a mystery serial killer, all of these things that we know of untrue, there is another untrue claim he made, which I would have thought would be a bit easier to check up. You see, Stéphane Bourgoin was never a professional footballer.
Was he not?
No.
Right?
Now, I'm just thinking, if I wanted to hoax a life as a true crime author, and I'm writing down a tragic backstory involving serial killer, gotta have that, gotta meet Manson, you've got to have stars involved, bit of FBI expertise.
Also, I was in Brighton and Hove Albion for a bit.
Why?
That's such an easily investigatable claim.
I know. It's not as if there are people out there who know everything about football and can remember who's on, the team that they love going back to the 1930s. Oh no, such people cannot exist. So,
I think it's just like not even asking what team did you play? What period? And then you'd want to know, even if you didn't think he was lying. You'd just think it would be cool that, this other guy I met was also a professional footballer. Let's go look up his old matches.
yeah.
Is this why there's so many real actual serial killers? Not that they're really great at amazing capture. Just that no one is actually there.
Maybe.
That's all you need to go say. No, I didn't do all these murders. This is ketchup on my hands. And everyone will just go, yep, that seems believable.
Also, I feel like this guy has, the second that David Peace reads this story about a guy who pretended to be a serial killer expert and also a professional footballer, David Peace will be kicking himself for not having thought of that one first. It's his dream career. So, when we talk about fantasists, there are several fictional fantasists who come up as comparison points. We might compare Bourgoin to Baron Munchausen, say, or Walter Mitty, or Don Quixote. But are you aware, listeners?
Smooth.
It's a good one, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm proud of it.
Well done.
Are you familiar, listeners, with Don Quixote in space?
I wasn't until about 10 minutes before we started doing this.
Okay, right. Now, I know solar winds are a thing, but windmills in space...
Yes, running for 2 months in 1970, so a runaway hit. ITV aired a series called The Adventures of Don Quick. See what they did there?
Yeah, clever.
I do. I also see that it's not a name.
Well, if you think that's not very good, wait till you hear what his sidekick's called. Ian Hendry played Don Quick, and Ronald Lacey played his sidekick, Sam Chopanza.
Oh, wow.
Dear me.
Why, though? Why would you do this?
And there's the penguin joke.
Why not just call them Don Quixote and Sancho Panza?
Exactly.
Do you think that's the bit of this concept I'm not going to buy?
Yes. They are members of an intergalactic maintenance squad who go to improve and help progress alien planets, all of whom do not want their help, which is admittedly a pretty nice hook. When it was cancelled, it had a series of unmade scripts and storylines plotted out, including, get this, one by Angela Carter.
Wow.
About a planet patterned after Tokyo, where showing your teeth in public is considered highly impolite. It's not exactly the bloody chamber, but it'll do. That was never filmed, but there is at least one episode of The Adventures of Don Quick on YouTube at the moment called The Benefits of Earth, and it does sound absolutely insane.
But I will admit that I did watch about 5 minutes of it. It's not very good. It's very a thing that was made in the 1970s.
And when they're talking about the benefits of Earth, are they talking like universal credit, job seekers allowance, that sort of thing?
Boy, it would be really forward thinking if it was about that, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
A dystopian future where Ian Duncan Smith is in charge of the welfare system.
Hey, it's Don Quixote in space. They've got to have space windmills.
It doesn't mention windmills. It's like the one thing that every single person knows about Don Quixote. Very odd.
Maybe he's just tilting at Pac-Man.
Tilting at asteroids.
Which is basically just a game of asteroids.
Well, we have arrived at the most delicious point of any show. Normally, when we have dramatic readings of terrible sex scenes.
I was about to ask, is it time for steampunk beef? And it seems it is.
It may well be.
Because I've just realised steampunk beef is also a porn name.
Hey, right, I love science fiction and spoonerisms, and yet how long did it take me to realise what a great porn name Dick Reckard would be?
Oh, that really is a Blade Runner.
I was about to say.
Oh dear.
Yes, normally this only happens when it's time for the Bad Sex Awards at the end of the year, but we have a bonus feature, listeners.
Oh.
Ba, 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 ba.
Yes. Curtis Sittenfeld, the author of Eligible and American Wife, has just published a book called Rodham. Stop sniggering at the back there.
I wasn't.
Absolutely not.
I was about to say, I was not at the back.
It is an alternate history novel about what would happen if Hillary Clinton did not marry Bill. And it has been described. It has received generous reviews, it must have said.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that's something that Hillary thinks about a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I'm very disappointed in this book now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if it's an alternate reality take on events, that are potentially surrounding the First Gulf War, surely the title should be the Rodham Saddam reboot.
Rodham Saddam robots, that great toy of the 70s.
You punch one in the face, that basically launches a Scud missile at you.
It's been received pretty well, but its sex scenes between the young Bill and the young Hillary have raised a few eyebrows, with Jezebel.
And that's all.
Wow. I don't even know. I don't want to hear this, but I know that Andrew's going to read it, isn't he?
Yeah, Jezebel have described it as Pantsuit Nation erotica, and I have got 2 excerpts, which I am now going to put in a text file for Andrew's eyes only. And there it goes into the chat. And whenever you're ready, Andrew.
God, I love it. This is like the best episode, best James Bond film ever made.
It's Christmas in spring.
Oh, that first line's one. Okay, I think we're all just going to take a moment, set the mood, dim the lights, light some candles, get some smooth jazz on the radio, scroll the bar down so we can see it all.
Are still on dial-up?
This is just the reaction from him glancing over it.
scroll into something more comfortable, listeners.
This is going to go horribly, horribly horrible, isn't it?
It's just the first paragraph by itself.
Andrew, just make sure you warm up first, and then take a good run at it.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Excerpt number 1. Your outsides are attractive all by themselves. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this during the woman's movement,
What?
but you have great tits, and your little waist, and your nice soft bum, and your delicious honey pot.
God.
I joined Bill in bed, and when I was lying on my back naked, and he was lying on top of me naked, he looked at me and smiled. He said, Hillary, I really enjoy discussing theology with you. I also enjoy doing lots of other things with you. And then he plunged inside me.
What?
I think for full effect, you have to remember that this is all being said in Bill Clinton's voice, and he sounds like a 1960s Hanna-Barbera character.
Hillary, I enjoy discussing theology with you.
I love your honey pot!
No, it's just naked sandwich, and then I enjoy discussing theology with you. Where the hell did that come from?
Somebody went to Catholic school.
Are we ready for the very appropriately titled number 2?
Yes.
I kissed Bill's bare shoulder. There's nothing I need besides you. But what's that? Next to the armchair, a black rectangular case about 2 feet in length had caught my eye. Like a suitcase, it had a handle and metal clasps. It's my saxophone.
No.
You play the saxophone?
No, I really don't.
Almost. No. I left the case there to impress you. It's empty. Lightly, he flicked my clavicle with his thumb and the middle finger. Of course I play. You'll have to show me sometime, I said. And next thing I knew, he'd bounded out of bed, and I was offered an unobscured view of his pale buttocks as he bent, opened the case, and pulled out the golden instrument. Still naked, he turned around and inserted the mouthpiece between his lips and began playing When the Saints Go Marching In.
Jesus.
Okay.
Was there any need for the phrase still naked there?
See, you know
How else would you know that you can see his pale buttocks?
there's a thing that I've been discovering in the world of writing. I've noticed that a lot of things have become unnecessarily descriptive. Where they're using like 30, 40 words where 5 are loo.
In general, yes, I would wholly disagree on this point. Is that I need as much time as possible to slowly acclimatize to Bill Clinton literally buck naked, blasting out When the Saints Come Home on his saxophone.
Do you think she had like a long think about what the least erotic song in the world is and came up with that?
Yeah, but this is the author who, you know, again, naked sandwich. I enjoy discussing theology with you.
Anyway, that was good, wasn't it, listeners?
Oh, wow.
Listeners, feel free to wash your ears out.
and then eat a nice pot of honey. Delicious honey pot.
Winnie the Pooh will never be the same again.
No, it won't. So, was that the last story?
That's where can you go from there?
Well, there is one place we could go, which is back to the world of words.
Ah, good.
But
No, you're joking.
this time with a slight intercontinental feel. So, some of these I will ask you if you know what the word is in a particular language, or I will say the word and I will ask you to figure out what the English is for it.
Okay.
So, what is the word chef in Swedish? Let's start off simple.
Oh boy, this is going to lead somewhere essentially racist, isn't it?
No. No, but...
I mean, I see the very obviously Swedish chef-based trap here.
Is it just chef with an umlaut?
No. It's far more hilarious and unfortunate than that.
Look, fine, do it.
Is it Cockman?
No.
Like
Oh my god,
but he
yes,
cocks
because
for
it's
a
a
living.
Germanic language, so it will involve the word cock.
Well, I'm going to give Sarah and Andrew a point for that because it is literally just the word cock. And the unfortunate thing is the Swedish version of MasterChef.
Oh
It's
god.
Meister Cock.
Yes.
How did
Also-
you know one of Bill Clinton's nicknames?
Yes.
Rick Dickard told me.
Okay. In Portugal, there is if you say I passed gas, what English term for, the day you receive your salary would you be using?
Oh my god, is it just something like, I just made payday?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's
Payday.
horrendous.
Yeah, it is just payday.
Oh man.
I mean, some of these are great, but right. In Italian, the word strozzapreti, it literally means priest strangler. What do you think it is?
Oh,
Yeah.
don't even go there.
Mm.
Is it similar to people who bash bishops?
Is it similar to Bill and Hillary discussing theology?
No. See, I didn't even know that was going to be in today's episode.
Yeah, I'm
mean-
with Sarah.
It's a difficult one, because the obvious answer is so obvious and so deeply horrible. But I don't know, it's a pasta.
Andrew gets a point. It is a type of pasta.
No, I feel like I can't accept this. I mean, I'll take the points. But is it racist?
Okay. In Afrikaans, paper vampire, what do you think it is?
A paper vampire? Is it a printer?
Nope.
Oh.
Is it a shredder?
Nope.
Oh my god. Rob,
Yeah?
is it a hole punch?
No.
Oh,
So
that's a good
close.
answer, though.
So
Yeah.
close. It's a stapler.
Ah,
Ah!
Close enough, I think.
Okay.
Wow.
Sultan al-Bar is the Arabic term for this particular creature, right?
Damon Albarn.
No. I was about to say Sultan al-Bar means cancer of the sea.
Oh, blimey. Okay.
What creature is it?
Richard Branson.
Pedalos.
Oh, I'm gonna have to say
Trip on the
something
old sea
boring.
cancer.
I don't know. Is it just something kind of normal like jellyfish?
Nope.
I mean, what is the worst sea creature?
Shark?
Well, sharks are cool.
They are
What's
like-
cool, but yeah. They're
What's
not
the sea creature
friendliest
that
at times.
sucks? Like, what's just a garbage fish?
Like a sea slug or something like that.
Sea cucumber.
Yeah.
Sea slugs are still they're kind of fun. Yeah, maybe sea
Sponge.
cucumbers.
You're going to kick yourself.
Sea cow.
I mean, I swear.
Oh, is it a crab?
No.
Ah,
Clever
though.
Clever though, and so definitely the wrong answer for the show.
though.
Remarkably close, though, Sarah.
Oh, is it a lobster?
Yep.
Ah.
Wow, that's a rad creature.
Yeah, lobsters
Yeah,
are really cool.
I
Who the
didn't.
hell wants to eat sea cancer? That's a Kurt Cobain lyric right there.
Exactly.
Why are they perceived that way?
I don't know. Right. Joulupuki, Christmas goat, is the Finnish name of what?
The Christmas goat?
Yes.
Did they just mistranslate
Yule goat.
Christmas Carol?
Yule goat. Joulupuki.
Your Christmas goat.
Yule goat, Christmas goat, is the Finnish name for what?
Is it the mascot for the next Pokemon game?
Is it Noel Edmonds?
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'll let you say it, but
Is it some weird regional variation of Santa?
Yes.
because I feel like I know what the right answer is.
Right.
Okay. This one's a bit tougher then. In Burmese,
Should I say what the answer I think is,
Go on
or are
then.
we just going to give me a
Yeah.
point? And let's just assume I'm right and move on.
what were you going to say?
Well, it's probably Krampus, isn't it?
No. Graham was
No.
right. It's Santa.
Ah,
That's why I was moving on.
Okay, in which case I said that.
You're still in the lead, Andrew. So. Right.
No, but why is he a goat? Santa's not a goat.
got big white beard.
Right.
I mean, I guess he just break into your house and just eat whatever's in front of him.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I got some Christmas cards once and they had goats on it with like a Santa hat on, and I couldn't get the link at all, and now I understand that Christmas card that certainly was never sent to anyone.
Right. Burmese word now, or two words. In Tong, I hope I pronounced that right. It's spelled Htaung. It literally means house prison, but what are they talking about?
Well, everyone's house at the moment.
Sounds like they're talking about marriage, am I right? But
Oh
we're skewing
man,
to a new audience now.
he went there.
How do you all think?
Is a house prison a shed?
Nope.
Is it a crib?
Nope. Remarkably, Andrew's right again.
Oh no! Oh, I don't want it. I don't want the points.
Wow.
Right.
God.
So
I can't
It's not
believe
the
I'm winning
worst.
this by turning into like Les Dennis.
It's not the worst thing the Burmese have done recently, but it is the latest.
what do you think the German word for garlic is?
Dawson, I meant Les Dawson. Les Dennis, it's the completely different guy, isn't he?
Yeah, but Les Dawson was kind of good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he? Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking
Well,
of...
I suppose Les
Leonard
Dawson
Manning.
did do a...
Chubby Brown.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's who I'm thinking of.
So anyway, the German word for garlic.
Der Vampire begonnen?
I'll give
Yeah,
you. I'll give you a hint here. The second half of the word is Lauch, so you only need the first four letters.
Oh, I remember this from German lessons at school. It's great. How thank you for reminding me of this. Yes. Knoblauch.
What?
It's correct.
Oh, that's very good.
Okay. Right. Okay.
The Germanic languages are just like all knob gags.
Oh, more so than you think, Andrew, because in Sweden, if you were going to the shops because there's a slot on, what are you talking about?
Oh, I know that is because there is a sale on.
Yes.
I was going to say sale, yeah.
I remember it because when me and my friend went to one of the, I think it was a Netto in Denmark, there were just signs everywhere, giant letters, just slut.
It's amazing what you can get in the middle aisle of Lidl, though.
And I think we're done on that.
Before we go then, can I just say my favourite foreign language term?
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's the Swedish for shaving foam.
Oh, is that the... I think I know this one.
Barber scum!
Oh, no, it's no, the one that I'm thinking of is it's a type of whipped cream from the Netherlands called Stagroom.
Right, definitely do not mix up your stag room with your barber scum.
No.
Scum is like foam.
Yeah.
That makes Because the second part of that story is that while we were in the Netto, we found some sweets that were called banana scum.
There's some great ones that I discovered while I was putting these words together. The word salsa, for example, in Korea means diarrhea. The word cookie in Hungary, right, means little willy.
Right.
So if you're going for some Haagen-Dazs, you're in trouble. Just remarkable things like that where fart means speed, I think, in Swedish, and like road speed, that sort of thing.
Right.
So you get some great signs when they're like limiting speed limits. They have like fart control, and for exits they've got like utfart and ausfart.
What is it with Sweden? Do you think Sweden's reputation for being kind of sexy and uninhibited just came from British tourists seeing all these big signs for sluts and thinking, wow?
One thing I did discover was the last stop on a train or bus in Sweden is called the slut station.
I mean, that was another unsuccessful ITV science fiction drama, wasn't it?
Oh, and probably the most bizarre one that I came across, and I was not sure how I was going to work this in. Gavisti in Sanskrit literally means desire for cattle. What do you think it means in English?
Is it just... No, it can't be something to do with hunger, because Sanskrit speakers wouldn't eat beef.
I mean, it sounds like some kind of like weird Google Translate for something having high stakes.
Sounds like a Tori Amos album.
Andrew, you are on fire today. Seriously, you are on fire.
No.
When you said it sounds like some weird Google Translate for something that has high stakes, the meaning is war.
Right.
So you go into battle with somebody in order to procure their goods, their booty, which in this case would be cattle. Is that about right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Star Cow franchise.
So, if you've enjoyed this episode, you can find all of our other episodes, in fact, all of the other shows on the Geek Show Podcast Network, on our website, thegeekshow.co.uk, where you'll find all sorts of other stuff like reviews and videos of games and stuff like that. And also our Patreon as well. If you want to help us out and help us improve, then feel free to join our list of patrons. And in the future, we will be having various exclusives for our patrons as well. That's it from us for this week. Until next time, I've been Rob.
I've been Graham.
I've been Sarah.
I've been Andrew, and that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh.
We'll see you all next time.